The MCU is this is like the awkward teenage years of of the MCU. Um, I hope we kind of get the ball rolling again. Like, I'm not one of those people who's like, well, because it doesn't have Iron Man and Captain America and Thor, that it all sucks because all these minorities in it. Like, no, that's fucking ridiculous. I think that I think they're kind of coasting on their laurels a bit.
I think that's
and you can really see it with stuff like Ant-Man, Quantumania. I remember Ant-Man. I was like, what the fuck? Who the fuck cares about an Ant-Man movie? And it's a really fun movie, right? And by the time Quantumania hit, it's like, all right, guys, like, I think you kind of missed the forest through the trees with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, look, it's interesting, right? Because you're 100% right. It is the weird, awkward teen years, right? Like the Infinity Saga was like, it's a new baby and it's awesome. It does all the cool shit you want. It's learning on its own now, and then it's like, we're now in the like, fuck you, dad. Phase.
Yeah.
You're like, come on, man. You got like big buck teeth and like fucking Coke bottle glasses. You don't know where you're fucking going. You're like, what's this hair growing on me, right? Like, so they're trying to figure themselves out. And I think I got to tell you, I think one of the biggest problems is the TV shows. And it's not for the reason I think a lot of people focus on their issues, which is like the quality, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think it's just too much. I think that when it was just the movies, you had 2 or 3 movies, like at the max, you had 3 movies a year, which, by the way, is a lot, right?
Yeah, that's
a lot for a production company. Like, let me rephrase that. That's a lot for a production company as small as it is, right? That's not 2 or 3 movies a year is not a big deal for Warner Brothers or for, but it's a lot on this sort of sub movie company under Disney, right? Disney can crank out tons of movies, but even Disney doesn't put out 3 or 4 giant tentpole films every year. They're not putting out 3 Toy Stories every year, right? Like, that's a big deal for them. I think the television shows are too much. That being said, I don't necessarily want them to go away. I would just like us to have maybe 1 a year. Give us like 1 really good TV show a year and like maybe 2 movies, or 1 movie and 1 TV show. That's enough. Leave us wanting something. Give us time to like take it in, theorize about what's happening, and da-da-da. Like, I think they're so fearful that with all the content and then with COVID that delayed everything, that people kind of forgot about. Is there lightning or a police officer in your house?
It was a television.
Yeah, like, the fuck is
let
going
me,
on?
let me turn this shit off.
What are you watching? Like some Dick Wolf show? But I do think that if you cut it down to like 1 movie a year where they could just like really dig in, or even 2 movies a year, but 1 television show, and stop cranking it down to like 6 episodes, give those
That's what I was going to say.
To breathe too. Like, give us 10 episodes. It's fine. But like, give us, let's just theoretical, right? Schedule. Give us a movie in like January, February, then give us one in like May, June, and then give us a TV show sometime in the fall, right? Like, or like, I don't know, maybe like late summer. Let's say like it starts late summer and it goes for like 10 weeks or something.
Well, here's the thing. I like the idea of 2 movies in a television show. I like the idea of the television show not necessarily being a mini series. 10 to 12 episodes, I think, is solid. You could tell a very interesting story without wearing out your welcome. They're not going to give up the summer. They're not going to give up the beginning of the summer, right? And the beginning of the summer starts at the end of May. So you give us a movie at the end of May. right? You give us that movie, and you give us a television show either between this movie and a movie that comes out towards the end of the summer, like September, something like that, something around September, right? You can either put a television show in between that, or you can put the television show over the winter to kind of because people are going to be in the house.
That's the move.
Right? So you do it over the winter to kind of make sure that people don't forget about you, I guess. And
but I do think they have that thought process, like, oh God, they're going to forget. We're not going to forget about you.
Yeah, nobody's going to forget, yo. Like we can't help but to remember, right? Like you said, like there's nothing but content, and it's coming from all directions. Like no one's going to forget, especially because like you're established at this point, right? Like you're established and you make a quality product. No one's going to forget about it. We don't forget about these DC movies, and the majority of them have been garbage. Right. So, but yeah, I do think they need to slow it down. I think they know that now. There was a story about how Daredevil Born Again just scrapped everything and basically started over. Right. Because hopefully they see what's happening. Because look, let me tell you something, like I'm excited for Daredevil and all that, but I'm excited for Daredevil because of what I remember the Daredevil show being.
Right.
And that is that everyone's going to come in with that preconceived notion, and they're not going to realize that like, this is going to be watered down a bit, guys. Like
it has to be.
It has to be. You're not going to necessarily get Kingpin like decapitating someone with a car door. You know what I mean? So you got to set your expectations, but people won't do that, I don't think. But like, I'm very curious now. I'm curious to see what it was. Right. And for them to be like, nah, just pull a Vince McMahon and just rip the whole thing up and start over. Right. But yeah, I think the MCU is kind of going through some growing pains right now. I'm not sitting here saying, I ain't gonna see none of these movies no more, because like that's how people think. If you have an honest criticism about something, you fucking hate it. Right. You have to blindly love everything, and that's just not how the world works. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the Marvels. I have my expectations, I think, right where they need to be, given the cast and the director. Right. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's just interesting, right? Like I feel like there's also one of the biggest detriments to the MCU, and I feel like people don't like to acknowledge it, and it seems like it's a really obvious one, which is COVID hurt it a lot. It did.
Yeah,
COVID hurt
everything. It hurt everything, and it killed the momentum.
It killed the momentum, right? Like, because you could have come out of Endgame and it's like everyone is excited to see what happens next, and then it was like, don't go to the theater or you're gonna die, and people were like, wait, what? Oh my God. And it's like the biggest experience of those movies, and like, quality aside of the next movie I'm going to mention, but it also killed the Fast and Furious franchise too, right? Like, the benefit of the theater going experience with those movies, it was that collective effervescence, right? You're just like, they're doing the thing, they're jumping off bridges, Spider-Man's here, like you got all of that collective. Everyone was in it. Everyone
saw that. Everyone's seen that clip of Captain America pulling Mjolnir, and then that goofball in the theater going, whoa, right? Like everybody's seen it. Everybody's been a part of it. Like, yeah, like that's the thing. Like that's what makes the theater going experience so memorable. But like you said, COVID killed it, and it made people realize, oh shit, I have a 65-inch television at my house.
Exactly.
I can with surround sound, I can create the theater going experience and be an asshole, and no one will shame me for it. That, and they just been hit with bad luck, man. Like their movie, the Black Panther made $1 billion when it came out in 2018, and then their main star tragically died. And then the next big bad, right? The next Thanos, if you will, he fucked up allegedly. So it's just a lot of
your next big black star, by the way, like because there's an aspect to that too, right? Like yes, obviously Chadwick Boseman passing is just a horrible tragedy, right? Everyone was, blown away by that fucking news. It also threw that movie into like a weird thing of like, what is this?
You had to rewrite the fucking movie,
right? Like, what is this movie to be? Right. So you had that. Then you had this. We've got this other major black actor that we've hired, right? Like, so in a way, I'm not saying this, but I think if you take what I'm saying, like I don't want to say at face value, but if you can understand context of my point here, which is you're losing an amazing young black actor, and then you brought in another young, amazing black actor, and then that guy fucks up personally, and you're like, well, fuck. Like, we just lost two major young, exciting black actors. We literally lost both of them, right? For two wildly different reasons, right? And I'm not saying Jonathan Majors was there to replace Chadwick Boseman, but I'm just saying like the unfortunate sort of similarities of who they are quite literally, and then them, their situations is a problem, right? And it's hurt them. I mean, like you could say you could see the same similar bad luck in the DCU, but their movies were also bad. So it's easy to kind of not see it. How like Ben Affleck at the height of his like drinking issues, and he's just like, like, I thought the dude came off as a pretty good Batman, but then he was put into a movie that didn't do so well. Like, and then Zack Snyder loses his daughter, tragically. Ben Affleck has like, substance abuse issues. Ezra Miller has their issues. I mean, it's just like one fucking bad situation after another. And it's easy to not notice that in the DCU because it's like I said, their movies have not been well done. They've not been. I won't even say that they've not been well received. You can just take it as that. Your own personal opinion aside, they just haven't been well received. And then like the Walter Hamada thing, and Ray Stevens or Ray Fisher. It's like there's a lot of just personal and tragic shit that just happened to that universe, and now it's happening to the MCU as well. And it's just like that's a lot. That's a lot, man. Like that's a lot. Look. I got to tell you, I wasn't super excited when I saw, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I wasn't that excited to see Evangeline Lilly because her shitty comments about COVID. And I was like, could you just not? And then Black Panther, you had Letitia Wright saying some wild shit about COVID. And I'm like, please shut the fuck up. And it's like, there's just a lot. Like, this is what happens. By the way, this is one of the reasons big Hollywood franchises with this many people don't really exist. That's a lot of balls in the air to be juggling. And now you're starting to see a situation where they can't quite control them all, right? Like, they got lucky in that first saga. They really did. The only hiccup was Edward Norton. Really. That was fucking it.
Yeah. And that wasn't like, and that was him just like, it wasn't him saying like some wild shit, right? It was just him like, being a bit of a diva, allegedly.
Right, and they were like, nope, nope. Oh, and Terrence Howard. But even that was just him being him wanting more money.
Him being a diva, right.
Just being a diva, right? And look, you could say maybe he deserved more money. I'm not even going to argue that point. I think Don Cheadle's a far better actor. But, and the MCU was better for it. But what I'm saying is, like, they got really lucky at the very little bit of things they had go wrong. And I don't think necessarily the MCU is a mess, but they've had a lot more tragedies inside that world. Like Kevin Feige's like right-hand woman, she's gone, because of the Bob Chapek thing and Disney not calling out the don't say gay thing fast enough. She was pushing back against, she's pushing back against Disney. She's pushing back against Kevin Feige. Like, all of that shit all happened after Endgame. That's a lot of things to lose and be going crazy all at the same time.